Hello friends, and welcome to the last video of the year. And what a year it's been. I'm sure many of us will want to forget it and move on, hopefully as quickly as possible once we get a vaccination. It will have been a year of losses, of jobs, perhaps of loved ones, of educational opportunities and economic hardship. Public finances are going to take decades to rebuild after this shock, even if the economic rebound is rapid. Some people may feel their lives will never recover. As we look forward to 2021, will we do so with blind optimism that it surely can't be any worse than the last 12 months, or a deeper, more Christian hope? Will God still be good, even if our circumstances don't change hugely? A verse that has meant a lot to me over the years is Joel chapter 2 verse 25. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. Not that I've had a particular insect problem in my garden, but it comes in the context of a prophecy to the Israelites that seek to put their experience into some sort of context. I found it especially helpful at low points in my life, when I've struggled either to find meaning in the circumstances or more likely suffered the results of my own bad choices. We don't know when the book of Joel was written or the precise historical circumstances that it alludes to. Indeed, the whole book is as likely as not allegorical. But Peter quotes from it in his very first sermon in Acts. He sees the imagery as pointing forwards to the cross and the outpouring of God's Spirit that will flow from it. As with all the prophetic writings, it's more of a forthtelling than a foretelling, not predicting specific events, but seeking meaning in the now and seeing in these things a pattern for God's dealings with the world more generally. When my daughter was 15, she asked us for a rabbit. As usually happens after the initial enthusiasm had died down, the care of aforesaid rabbit became our responsibility. In fact, had we known how long rabbits can live for, we might have been a little bit more reluctant to get him in the first place. Our responsibility for the rabbit continued long after my daughter had left home. He remained in rude health for years, and every day during the summer the rabbit would be put into its run, and every evening we would try to get him in again. Unfortunately, the run was a bit longer than my arm. Every evening the same saga would play out. Rabbit would see me coming and scoot to the furthest corner of the run, where he would sit, shaking with fear, until complex gymnastics allowed me to grab him, often vigorously. My sole intention was for the good of the rabbit. No, really it was. If I left him out overnight, the foxes would have eaten him. But my best efforts were always interpreted as cruelty. I suppose Rabbit could no more understand my intentions than I have hope of understanding the finer workings of quantum physics. Rabbit world is a very simple one based on the meeting of a few basic needs. In caring for him, I was working from a much larger perspective, the complexities of which were entirely beyond his limited understanding. It's probably much too early to try and find meaning in the year we've just experienced. The crisis is still too current and the bitter experiences too raw. But the prophet Joel's conviction was that God was at work, both in the deprivation and suffering, as well as the joy of restoration and new life. We Christians can do this because we don't see life as just about the now. We believe in eternal life, a life that begins now but continues beyond our physical lives into a glorious eternal future. There is the idea of a sense-making in retrospect that we'll only see after we die. That wonderful verse that we read at funerals from Revelation chapter 21 and verse 4 sums it up. God will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. The privations catalogued earlier on in the book are brutal in the extreme. The implication from that verse is clear. There are many things in this life that will make no sense to us now, but will do when we can see them from an eternal perspective. That's one of the many reasons we Christians are hopeful people. We hope because there are simply no circumstances God cannot redeem, even if the experience is something He doesn't desire for us. We're hopeful because whatever the future holds, we trust Jesus will walk with us through it. That is the heart of the Christmas message. Emmanuel, God with us. Christian faith is grounded in the reality of this life, tragedies and losses, as well as joys. As we enter into 2021, we do so accompanied on our journey by the living Jesus Christ. I wish everyone a happy, healthy and prosperous new year. But even if it's less than we hope for, God will still be active and good in the middle of it.